Hey, my Legion, how y'all doing today? I'm here today to review a local production from WQLN, and they have a series called Our Town. And I was waiting for them to kind of do like a thing from where I'm from, pretty much. I mean, I'm from Cranesville. They probably would never do a Cranesville one, but they did the next best thing, Albion, which is like connected right next to it. Cranesville and Albion like brother and sister. And we even have a thing connected with the water bill with Cranesville and Albion Borough. And they had our time. I know I saw commercials of it locally, on last year, and then it apparently broadcast December 14th last year, and I missed it. I was kicking myself in the butt for it, and I finally got to see it. Finally got to see it last night, and on their website, I'll put like a link in the description to the website for anyone else who's interested. And when I was growing up, when I was born, we lived right in downtown Albion, and then like we moved a little bit right after I got out of first grade during the summer, was 75, 76, and we moved up to East Crane Road. So like there was like a thing. So I have memories of two towns, Albion and Edinburgh, because those are the two big towns. Every so often you'd go into Erie and Meadville, but my main memories are Albion and Edinburgh. And now, after that I went in the Army. Now I live in Kennedy Trope. I have lots of memories of Albion. Lots of memories now. You know, After the Army, I've been here, Kennedy's, for at least since, we moved there May of 90. I was still in the Army, and then I got out in late November 91. I've been here ever since. And Albion's my go-to a lot of times if I was staying local, especially with the wintertime. I'm very glad that we have this town. And there's a little bit of stuff in Cranesville, but mostly it's Albion. And then I would still go to Edinburgh so often, too. But the show itself was really interesting. They first of all they had like guest speakers speak. They had volunteers come and speak, and they filmed it all in the Albion Library, which is a perfect place to film because it's so nice and quiet. Because I've been in the Albion Library many times. I had some videos on my channel about the Albion Library, and you can hear the history. When you open up that door, and then if you go down the basement, you hear that creak when you go down, when you go on the steps. It's really neat. And first of all, that lady talked about the Bessemer Railroad. And she was talking about the Albion Library used to be like a rest house for the workers there, and they had to, I think it was like a thing you had to, between shifts, you had to rest at least 8 hours, and they have people that would come and tell you when you would call boys and tell you whenever you're supposed to work, and you had to sign a log and stuff like that. And and they had none of the houses were locked, and they would come right in the house and and wake you up and tell you, hey, you got to do your thing. That reminded me of when I was in the Army, especially in one AIT. When you had guard duty, they would come up, and then they'd wake you up, like the soldiers would wake you up and tell you, hey, it's your turn to guard duty, or the former guard say, hey, you got to relieve me in like 20 minutes. It was kind of like that, but I mean, it's different. It was really interesting, and they had it was sponsored by Roger Brothers. My dad would have liked that because my dad worked at Roger Brothers for most of his life as a welding company. And they had the new person in charge talk about the history of Roger Brothers. That was really neat. I really enjoyed that. They had other stuff on there talking about Northwestern School District, the community garden, the program Toys for Wildcats, which I didn't know about. They had some things I didn't know about as well. They had a couple of things I was a little surprised at. They talked about Camp Fitch. Camp Fitch is all the way in West Springfield. That wasn't Albion, but I mean, it's surrounding area though. Yeah, I mean, it's Albion, the surrounding area, I think, but most of it's like right in Albion, and then Raccoon Park, which is way away. I was a little surprised about it. I mean, but it was still interesting. I loved it. I enjoyed it very much. Um, they had talked about Hope Cemetery, which is more in Cranesville, and the little church on the hill more in Cranesville. That was really interesting. I've been to both of those places. And they talked about the history of the cannon that was up there in Hope Cemetery. I thought that was a a Civil War cannon. It turned out to be from the Spanish-American War. And they talked about the history of the carousel, which is really cool, which is like the second oldest in the country or something that we have. That was originally built in 1897, and the Lions Club got it from a barn in Ohio and had it moved down here in 47 or something like that. And then I got mad because they said vandals came in and destroyed it in 67, even though it was the year before I was born. I was a little bit upset. I didn't know about that. I was mad about that. I'm sure most people would have been watching the show. They talked about the Albion Fair. That was very interesting. I like that. And they talked about the new consignment show. Wow, it's been around 7 years, and they went to different locations and stuff like that. It was in that place that was, that used to be the Final Cut, the video store, and then that consignment store took over. And then that one restaurant I loved, Red Wagon, whenever that went out, I loved Red Wagon. That was a good place, great place to eat. When that went out of business, the consignment shop moved there, and it had 2 floors now. And they were on there talking, and I think that was a little more of there was a little bit of history in there, but some of that was kind of like a commercial for their place. But it was still cool. I liked it. But I remember, they ended with talking about the Albion Tornado, which destroyed a large part of the town, and that was probably the best way to end it, sadly. And how it's rebuilt and stuff like that in the future for Albion. And they talk about Chamber of Commerce, Project Need. Who I knew. Let me see something. Let me look. I got lost. Yeah, Joanna Twitchell. I know her. I remember her from Marquette, and then she's working at Charlie's. I still call Uncle Charlie's in Edinburgh. And it was really, a really fascinating thing, because I remember Albion, when it was had, as a kid, I remember the Bobbin, and that ended up becoming Kimberly's restaurant. Now it's a tanning place. And I remember they used to have at the time they had 3 hardware stores. Kennedy's is still around. They mentioned Kennedy's a little bit. It would have been kind of cool if they had a story about Kennedy's hardware. There's a thing about what's that on the road? Action News 24 did the On the Road. They did a story about Kennedy's hardware store a couple of years ago. It was really good. And I'm glad I got to see it with my dad when he was still alive. And I remember when they had 3 grocery stores: O'Kellick's, Golden Dawn, and IGA, and then that became Surefine. In the 90s, I think in the 90s it became Surefine. And then O'Kellick's ended up becoming Jim and Sue's for a while, and then now that's Steve's car wash now. And of course Golden Dawn went out of business. I love Golden Dawn. Golden Dawn was a good place. And it's now Green's flea market. But Albion's been through so many changes since I've been born. And my dad, I remember there was other places there used to have that that restaurant we used to get breakfast to. And it was right next to the liquor store, and there was a big fire that destroyed it, sadly. And they used to have that jewelry store. And Kennedy's used to sell more stuff. They used to sell clothes and furniture and stuff like that. And we had a big history, I remember the Albion Pharmacy used to have thing in the basement where they sold toys and stuff. That was really cool. I remember that as a kid. I loved it. They had bus breaks. They had a newsstand, a couple newsstands there. And that's, everything's just been constantly changing. And, it was really interesting. And I remember Grandma's Country Cookie. I'm still upset that place closed down. I love that place, too. And I really enjoyed the show. I'll put the link in the script for anyone's interested in history, might be interested in this. I'm going to share it with the 2 Northwestern News groups on Facebook. That was at Northwestern News, and then the Smorgasbord News of Northwestern PA. I think that's what they're called. And I hope you like this video. And until next time, bye, please. Take care, my Legion. I give it a full-on 10 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I finally got to see it now. Sometime, I don't know when, I gotta watch that one of Edinburgh, too. Because I have memories of Edinburgh, too. So, till next time, bye, please. Take care, my Legion. I'm wearing that Batman shirt. And also, speaking of Albion, my Batman shirt, I wore it in the Albion McDonald's, and one of the workers stopped working, came up and said, "Hey, excuse me, sir, I really like your shirt." And I said, "Oh, thank you very much." So I thought I'd add that too. So take care.